Well, hello everyone, it's Marguerite again with Wreaths by Marguerite for another tutorial. Today we're doing a storm door wreath for Easter. First of all, what is a storm door wreath? A storm door wreath is a wreath that's under 4 inches deep. Look how thin that is, but look how fluffy it looks from the front. I love it. And I love all things pastel and polka dots, so this was the perfect Easter project for me to do at this time of the year. So stick with the program and I will show you how this is made. You can do this yourself. It's really rather easy. Or if not, if you're just here for entertainment purposes, let's get this thing started. I apparently have a twisted tongue this morning, so anyway, yes, let's get this started. Okay, let's go over the supplies for this project as well as the tools we'll be using. Everything for me always starts with the sign. This is my inspiration for the entire project. This is a metal sign. I've gone ahead and attached to the back 2 cable tie mounts. Where did I put one of them? I wanted to show one of those to you, but I don't know where I showed it. There it is. Okay, let me bring in the video tighter so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, machine, wake up. Alright, see this little black block right here? Not going any tighter. There we go. This is called a cable tie mount. It's a little 1x1 with a sticker on the back. You pull off this little cover off of the foam that has adhesive on it, and you stick it on metal. First thing I do is I put a little bit of hot glue where I'm going to put the cable tie mount, not hot glue, super glue. Need a super glue. I like a gel style. Put a little bit of that down and then I place this down and then I go back through and I put hot glue around the outside of the cable tie mount. Hot glue is not enough. Why? Because when you get in extremely cold and extremely warm temperatures, you're going to have either the cable tie mounts melt off if it's hot or pop off from being too cold. Let me get that picture back out. There we are. So that's why we use the cable tie mounts on here. You can poke holes if you have a hole punch on the corners. There is a hanger for this already built in, so I took half of a pipe cleaner and I attached it there, and then took another pipe cleaner, cut it in half to attach here. The hot glue is just holds it in place so that you can use it use the sign and place it into the wreath before it's 100% cured. Let me take that price tag off because nobody's going to want to see that. I will keep it till I do my inventory sheet. I missed that. It's always so satisfying to pull it off in one piece. That touch of adhesive left there. But yeah, so that's how you do that versus a wooden sign or an MDF sign. You would still use the cable tie mounts on an MDF sign if your sign is not at least 1/4 inch thick, because otherwise even the smallest staples will go through to the front if you don't have it thick enough. So I always advise the cable tie mounts on the really thin signs as well. Otherwise, you just staple half a pipe cleaner in each corner of the sign. But in this case, we've got metal, we've got cable tie mounts, super glue, hot glue, and half of a pipe cleaner in each place. Each cable tie and on the hanging hook. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over on top of the bubble wrap now so it stays protected while we're building this beautiful wreath. And put it out of the way. Now I picked these 3 ribbons to match the sign colors. I thought it'd be perfect. It's got that nice pastel. I got some stripes, I got some geometric, and then I got some polka dots which tie exactly into the sign. It's a great combination. Now you need to use at least 2 ribbons, if not 3. I usually only use 2 ribbons if I use a 4-inch ribbon and a 2.5-inch ribbon. These are all 2.5. I could put a couple 1.5 inches with a 2.5 inch. You got a variety of mixtures. Just know that if you use 2 to 3 1.5 inch ribbons only, you're going to have less coverage of the mesh. And that's okay if you want more of the mesh to be seen. But in this project, even though it's really pretty, I want it to be hidden. It's just the solid foundation of the wreath. We often call it the bra of the wreath. It holds everything else up. It's funny, but it really is true. I've already pre-cut my bundles. There are 12 bundles of ribbon. They're all cut at 13 inches in length, and then I folded them in half in bundles so they're ready for me to assemble the wreath. This is the mesh I chose to go with. Doing things a little backwards today. I usually start with the wreath base. Now this is what's called 10-inch mesh. They're anywhere from 9.5 to 12-inch pieces of rolls of mesh. This is 10. And they're all pre-cut for the sake of keeping this video not too long. They're already pre-cut at 20 inches, all right? So there's 12 of those. So 12 bundles of ribbon, 12 pieces of mesh, 12 pipe cleaners. So that's why 12, 12, 12. It all corresponds. It makes it easier to remember. The important thing to remember is that you need a 14.25 inch wire frame. This is a flat one. There's also the pancake frames that are a wooden material made by a Sincerely Creative Mom, sold by her and through Deco Exchange. I think her link goes to Deco Exchange, to be honest. I haven't looked in a while. Been so busy. So you got to make sure that this 14.25 inch frame has 4 rings, 1, 2, 3, 4, with 6 crossbars. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That allows you to put 6 pipe cleaners on the outer 2 rings. And pulling them out to get them ready to use, and 6 on the inner 2 rings. So these 6 are at the crossbar on rings 1 and 2, and these 6 are in between the crossbar on rings 3 and 4. I have them turned to the center because we aren't working on that layer yet. The first layer is the outside. So now let's go over the tools. You're going to need a good pair of scissors. I have my Loctite super glue gel. Needle nose, in case you have a problem getting pipe cleaners through the frame. You'll understand that when we get to the sign. I use this to pull the pipe cleaners from the sign through the mesh, and we'll get to that in a little while. Either a small wooden dowel or a pen or a pencil. They're the same diameter in most cases. This is for curling your pipe cleaners on the top layer. And a good pair of wire cutters. I have some from Deco Exchange, and I have my DeWalt's. These are my favorite. I like these, but I can get in tighter places with these for some reason. Alright, so that's all our tools. I'm going to get them out of the way for now. Oh, I forgot one more important tool. A chip clip. Yes, a chip clip. And the nice thing about it is most of these tools you have around the house. This is a chip clip. Everybody has some scissors, but make sure nobody's using your scissors for these kind of projects. For anything else, it will dull the scissors. Every toolbox has needle nose, and usually always has wire cutters too. If not, borrow them from your husband if you have a husband's toolbox, or if you have your own toolbox. So there's no tools that you have to specifically buy to do this project. If you're going to do several or more, if this is a business for you, you do need to invest in a good cutting mat. These are in the fabric departments at most fabric stores. I got this off Amazon because I had to have purple. Alright, so I think that covers all the tools, all the supplies, and we're good. You need a good glue gun too. This one's pretty heavy duty, but any glue gun will do that you have available to you for these projects. Doesn't take much glue, and you don't need this. I just invested, and when I first started, I used what I had, and then as I moved forward, I invested in tools that I knew would last me for a very long time. So that's why I have that one. There's lots of things you can invest in, but don't do it right away. Okay, let's get started. So first thing you want to do is put the pipe cleaners on the outside layer, horizontal to you. Notice I'm turning the frame as I work. Why do I do that? It's less strain on my arms and my back. I'm not reaching out over here to get everything ready. It pulls on your back and your arms, and you don't want to do that unless you have to. Even standing up when you do these projects, I recommend turning as you go. And that's how you're going to work on the project as well. So we're going to start putting the mesh in. I'm going to set it to the side. Oh, I missed one. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to take my first piece of mesh and I'm going to point out something important in this mesh. This side has blue mesh and this side has green, so that's going to be important to remember when you are building the wreath. You can either do all of them with the blue on the outside or all of them with the green on the outside. I choose to give it added dimension, so every other one's going to have the blue edge to the outside of the wreath, and every other in between each of the blue will have the green on the outside. Okay. First thing you're going to do is you're going to turn your mesh curl side down. See how it curls? Curl side down on the table for this method. Okay. You can use a ruler to find your center, or you can use the stripe in the center to know that the pink one, that one is your center. But the quickest, easiest, most fail-safe way to do it is just to fold your mesh immediately in half and then clip it in the center. That's what the chip clip's for. It's to mark your center. Is that right? That wasn't over far enough. The nice thing about this mesh is you have lines, so you can easily follow the color of the mesh to ruffle it. But when you're dealing with a solid colored mesh, you don't have that. So the chip clip one marks your center, so you have something to focus on as you're ruffling up the center to stay straight and not veer off to the sides. The mesh is going to help you do that in the first place, so it's less frustrating to have that visual. Plus it holds the mesh down on the table so it's not rolling up on you while you're trying to ruffle. On the first layer, I'm going to show you one way that I ruffle the mesh, and on the top layer I will show you a second method on how I do it. And I think the second method on the top is better because the mesh curls up so much that it's really fighting you because it's tighter, because it's in the center. It's in the center here, so it's naturally curled tighter. So you'll see that when we get there. Okay, let's get started. So I've done that. Now I do the same thing on this side. No tools necessary except for the chip clip. Any clip will work. That just works the best, something with a good grip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumbs and I'm going to put them outside of the mesh, my thumbs, and then use my fingers to gather the mesh to my thumbs. Now I could gather going that way to the top of the mesh, but I'm going to bring the mesh to me. Again, stop straining your back and your arms. Okay, gathering it all up, following that pink line and the clip to stay centered. When I get to the top, I'm going to take the clip off and loosely hold the mesh in my thumb and forefinger and bring that last little bit together. Our goal is to make sure that the edges meet. This side's off about an inch and the same on this side, so I'm going to hold it again loosely. And I'm going to grab down by my fingers and never by the edge because that will damage the design of the mesh. I'm going to bring it out to even it up. Okay. And I'm bringing my hand all the way down to there. This was dipped in a little bit, so I needed to pull it out, and that's good. So I'm going to bring the frame over to me, and I'm going to take and put the mesh in the frame vertically. The pink stripe is the center, so that helps me with this particular mesh stay centered, because we basically want to have 5 inches of the mesh on either side of the center of the pipe cleaner. We're going to twist it tight and low 3 times and then bring it up out of the way. Okay, so then I'm going to take my outside cut edge on one side and lay it over the outside cut edge over inside cut edge, and outside cut edge on this side over inside cut edge. Now why do I do it that way? Because there is a cut edge in all mesh frays and it's unavoidable. You can use a wood burner to cut your mesh on a piece of tempered glass, but do it outside in a ventilated area, and then that would make less. But this is a fabric, this is a deco poly mesh with fabric in it, so we won't be able to do that unless we want to start a fire. And I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in flames and smoke. Okay, this protects the cut edge by placing it in this position versus having it this way. If I put it this way, the cut edges can be exposed to being caught on something, and we don't want that because it'll cause more fray. Now, it doesn't look good on this side, right? This side looks good. So I'm going to grab it from the pipe cleaner, and I'm going to pull here where it dips in, but I'm going to do it down towards the pipe cleaner to even it out. And then I use this or a ruler to make sure I have 5 inches on each side. I don't do that every time, just in my tutorials now, because I've been doing this for so many years. So that gives me my circular pattern. There's no sharp points sticking out over here. It's nice and rounded, and that's what we're looking for. I'm going to turn that a little bit, okay, because I want those cut edges straight across there horizontally. All right, so that's the first one. I put the green on the outside, so that means I need to do the green one here, so I'm going to do every other. I put every other in and then go back and put the 3 in between. That helps it to lay nicer and gives it more of a pattern as well. So let's do this one. Again, doesn't matter how you lay it on the table as long as you put it in the frame correctly, but I'm going to turn it around for the sake of teaching. So I got it curl side down. I'm going to fold this side in half evenly to put my clip in, but I already know that pink's the center. And out of practice, I'm going to do it on the other end and then just start gathering all the mesh into my thumb and my forefinger. Thumbs and, no, into my thumbs. Okay. I'm jumping a step in my head and it came out of my mouth. But see how it kind of fights me a little bit? That's okay. Okay, get up there, take that clip off, take that thumb and forefinger and hold it in the center loosely so that we can get these edges lined up. I'm not grabbing the edge. I'm going to grab up towards the pipe cleaners. That needs to come out over here just a little bit more. Now you can wait and fix this when you get in the frame. It's up to you. It's probably better to do it out here if you can. So that's dipping. And that's dipping. So we're going to fix that. Notice I didn't grab it from the edge. Okay, so we're skipping this one. And then we're going to come over here, making sure that the green stripe is on the outside and the pink is centered in the pipe cleaner. Pull it tight and low, and don't be afraid of pulling tight. It ain't going to break unless you're, you know, the bionic woman. Okay, 1, 2, 3. These things are pretty darn sturdy. I get mine at the Hobby Lobby. If you get some of them at some of the other places, you'll feel the difference in the wire. So outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. I need to make some slight adjustments. I got a little bit of a point there. And I think that's over here because it's dipped just slightly. No, it's not there. Here. I'm going to bring some more out. Whoa. There we go. That's a dip there. Love this mesh. Making sure it's like 5 inches on each side of the center. Now I have a piece of mesh that's frayed. I'm going to cut it off now. Do it as you go so you don't have to go looking for it when you're done. It's easier to do it now and get it out of the way than search for it later. I need to bring this out just a little bit more. Okay. Sometimes I recommend holding the pipe cleaner so it doesn't untie, but that's why you twist it 3 times so it's going to stay. What's most important on this bottom layer, just to remind you, is that this is nice and circular and looks great. Because this is the only part that's going to show. It's going to be covered with ribbon, more mesh, and more ribbon and a sign. So see, I'm turning it again so that I have the piece that I'm working with directly in front of me. I'm moving it a little to the side. I always recommend you have at least 4 feet of space to do your project because this stuff is like Velcro. And it sticks to everything, and if you have stuff all over the table in the way, it's gonna hitch a ride, so to speak. That's also why I only wear short sleeves or roll up my sleeves when I'm working on this, because I can't reiterate enough that Velcro, this is like Velcro. Sometimes I call it Velcro. It's mesh. Okay, so I uncurled it. I'm using the edge of the table to uncurl it now. Fold it in half. Mark the center. Bring it up on the table, fold it in half down here to mark the spot where the center is. Then I'm going to ruffle it all into my hands, all the way into my thumbs. Try to do it evenly as you can. That'll keep you from going off to one side or the other as well. That's definitely a helpful tip. Take the clip off loosely, bring the rest of it into your thumb and forefinger. Loosely hold it with your thumb and forefinger, and then you're going to make sure everything looks even, that your edges match up, and then you're going to bring the frame over, and remembering that the green goes outwards, the green striped edge goes outwards. I'm going to put that there. And why I make sure the pipe cleaners are ready before I get started is because we don't have 3 hands. And that helps with the process of putting the mesh into it with less struggle. Okay, that was 3 times I twisted it. I'm going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. And the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. And if it'll let you turn under the edges, I recommend that. It's never going to stay that way. At least I find that to be the case. Make sure your edges are even on both sides. Make sure you've got 5 inches on each side of the center. And you're set to go. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to skip ahead to the next layer after I get the ribbon in. Wait. I'm going to do one more of these. I'm going to put 3 of the ribbons in, and then I'll do the final 3 ribbons on this layer with you. Okay. So now we have to remember that we want the blue facing the outside. See, it keeps popping back out on me. Mind of its own it has. So curl side down, fold it in half, clip the center, do the same on the other end, mark it with your finger, gather it into your thumb, staying as centered as possible, using that chip clip to keep you focused at the top, gathering as evenly as possible so you don't go off to one side or the other. It just naturally tries to fight you. Okay. Alright. Loosely in the thumb and forefinger. Make sure your edges are even. I find that after I do a few of the ruffles of the mesh, I tend to be more accurate. See how I had very little adjustment to make. I'm going to go over here, making sure the blue one is on the outside. Put that in the frame, in the pipe cleaner. Pull it tight and load to the table. Why are we pulling it tight and close to the table? To keep the height of the wreath as short as possible because we want it to stay under 3 inches. Then I twisted it 3 times tight and low to the table. Put them up out of the way. And then I'm going to take this outside cut edge over that inside cut edge. This outside edge over this inside cut edge. I'm going to make any adjustments I need. This looks like it's got a dip. So I'm going to lift it up right by the pipe cleaner. I'm going to hold the pipe cleaner in place this time. I pulled it a little too much. There we go. Alright. Is that right? 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks good. Okay, I'll be back once I have these 2 put in and 3 bundles of ribbon. Okay, I've finished putting the other 3 pieces of mesh in the base, and now I've moved on to putting ribbon in. I've done the first 3 ribbon tails, first 3 bundles of ribbon tails. So now what I need to do is I need to take my pipe cleaners first of all and put them horizontal. Nope, vertical, 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 vertical. When you're using the mesh, the pipe cleaners go horizontal. When you're putting in the ribbon, you put the pipe cleaners vertical. Okay, so I'm going to get the next 3 bundles over here, and I need to make sure that I've finished this first. I'm squirreling already. Sidetracked. So they're all ready for me to put the ribbon bundles in, okay? So something I need to point out in the ribbons, this you can put in either way. This you can put in either way. It's non-directional ribbon. This one's directional ribbon. See how all of the sayings and the faces and the eggs are all facing one direction? So it's important that you remember that when you're putting your ribbon in the frame. Okay? So I put all of these 3 with the with the words and everything upright on this side. So then now the other 3, I'm going to flip them and do it the opposite. Again, adding more dimension. You could do them all the same, but since I have an even number of pipe cleaners, I can do half one way, half the other direction, okay? Hopefully that helps you understand that. So when I put these in here, these 3 in, it was like this. When I'm putting these in, they're going to be like this, okay? So I'm going to ruffle it up the center. I've opened the bundle and I'm ruffling it up the center, gathering it into my thumb and forefinger. And then I'm going to take all the ribbon tails and bring them down towards the edge of the table towards me. So basically an upside down V. And I'm going to come over to the pipe cleaner. And I'm going to bring the pipe cleaner up and over and make sure these ribbon tails are facing out the edge of the wreath. That helps them stay there. It's not a perfect solution, but it works the best. So then I'm going to tie this pipe cleaner tight and low to the frame 3 times. Tight and low, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to twist upwards 6 to 8 times to create a 1 to 1.5 inch twist, okay? Then I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to cut the excess that's not twisted off and throw it in the trash. Or make a little trash pile off to the side. But remember, anything that's in the way of the wreath is going to end up attaching itself to the back. It'll come off, but you don't want to snag anything. So you can either push this down towards the center of the wreath now, or you can wait till after you've positioned your ribbon. Generally, I wait until after I position the ribbon. Now I'm turning it a little bit so this is right in front of me. And I'm bringing up the top 2 pieces of ribbon. I'm pulling it all the way up to the base of the pipe cleaner. And I'm going to lift up and position the bottom ribbon where I want it. So that's up there. I'm going to do it again. Lift, separate, and then I'm going to position that one next to it. You're going to get some gathers, little pockets up here. You can put your fingers up in there to get them out and run your fingers over the edges of the ribbon as you do that to smooth it out. And then just place your final one. So on this side, I had the geometric, the stripe, and then the print. So the other side is going to be opposite. These 2 are going to be flipped. The rainbow stripe will still be in the center. So I'm turning it again so it's straight in front of me and I'm not contorting my body. I'm lifting the top 2 away from the bottom all the way up to the pipe cleaner. This time I'm bringing the geometric down to the edge. Lift and separate, bring the rainbow to the center, and then I'm putting the print on the top. So see, this is already moved on me. I'm pressing that down towards the center of the wreath, but not all the way through. It will not be seen at all once the top layer is finished. But I do need to bring this one back down because it decided to move already. I like to push down a little bit on it. That's up to you if you do or not. We don't want this layer to be fluffy. Pardon? Okay, so that's that one. And the other 2 are going to go in exactly the same as this. So just follow your patterns. So on that one, it was this way. So this one is going to be this way. Bring that in front of me. Gather the ribbon. Hold it. Bring the ends down to the edge of the table, making sure they're even on both sides of the center. That's why you crease them so well when you make the bundles. Tight and low, 1, 2, 3, and then twist it upwards towards the ceiling 6 to 8 times. Cut off the excess untwisted pipe cleaners and throw them in the trash. And then here we go again on the right, or whichever side you start with. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. We want to lift it all the way to the pipe cleaner. Don't be afraid to tug on this ribbon. It's all well-made ribbon, wired ribbon. It can take it. Now we're going to turn it on this side. Lift, separate, position. See how that's moving again? That's okay. We'll put it back down. Lift, separate, position. We're running our fingers over the ribbon as we're positioning it. I like to push it down a little. Get that back in place. Push that into the mesh. That pipe cleaner into the mesh. And we have one more to go on this layer. Okay. Remembering the one next to it, that's the direction. So we flip it for this one because we're making every other one match. Gather it at the crease. Pull it down towards the edge of the table, making sure both sides are even. Bring it over to the frame. Put it in the pipe cleaner. Twist tight and low 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then twist upwards 6 to 8 times. It just depends on how tightly you twist it, how many times you need to get to 1.5 inches. And cut off the excess piece of pipe cleaner. Now we're going to position our ribbon. How you gather it in your hands affects how much of the bubbles you get up here. Lift, separate, position, run your fingers over it, pop out any bubbles. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Okay, so there's that. Turn it. Now remembering that we're putting the geometric ribbon down on this side where it was up on that side. You can do them all exactly the same if you want, but I like to add that little element of dimension. It's up to you. You can make them all exactly the same. I'm going to hold it down while I push it in. So everything's positioned where it needs to be. So now I will come back after I've got the first 3 pieces of mesh in the top layer, and then I'll show you the second style of ruffling that I do. But before I do that, now that we're going to the second layer, we're going to bring the pipe cleaners up in between each 2 pieces of mesh, and then fold every other one open. So we're going to do 3 for the first 3. Remembering that we're doing every other, so that one I'm not going to prep for the mesh yet. Bringing that up, that's 3. That's 4. Don't pull it through the mesh, pull it in between 2 pieces of mesh. So that one will lay open. No, it's this one. This one lays open, this one stays up still. Trying not to confuse you or myself. So that one was up, this one gets spread out, and then this one gets pulled up, okay? So, there we go. I'll be back in just a few minutes with the first 3 pieces of mesh done. Okay, now I've got the first 3 pieces of mesh in the top layer. They're set to go. And as a reminder, if you'd like to see a lot more detailed direction for this, you can look at any of my videos, tutorials that I do for kids. I do some of the cutting of the ribbon in that one. And if you want to see all the ribbon cut, every piece of mesh put in, every step going through the entire project, you should refer back to my videos from January, February, and March of 2024. That's where I go into super detail. Every once in a while I do one completely detailed, but that's where you're going to find them primarily. A lot of people don't want to see that super detailed, but if you do want that, that's the place to find it. Okay, so back to the wreath. So those 3 are done. So I have all my pipe cleaners pulled up. So I'm going to now take the 3 in between the 3 I put in and put them diagonal to me, because this is mesh. Diagonal to me. Diagonal with mesh, vertical with ribbon. So diagonal to me. So we're going to put in the last 3. If you hadn't noticed, the blue edge is on the outside on these 3. So we're going to make sure the green is on the outside on these last 3. Now see how tight the curl is now on these? See why it's so important to use that clip to hold it in place? So I'm going to unroll it curl side down as always. I'm going to put my clip where the pink was, because we know on this one that's the center. Just fold it in half if you're not sure. And on this end, I'm going to show you a little bit different way of ruffling it. The result is the same. I always start out using 2 hands with my thumbs on the outside, right in the center there. Oh, I'm supposed to fold it in half to show you. See how it's fighting me more? Thumb and fingers ruffle up just a few inches to get started. Then I take one hand off and I place it further up here. This helps to keep the curl under control. And I can do a pretty darn good job ruffling with one hand. And you just ruffle it all into that crawling up that pink stripe or the center of your mesh. If it's a different project, bring it all the way to the top. Pardon, I'm getting dry. Loosely hold it in your thumb and forefinger, just like everything else. Making sure your ends are evened up as much as possible. This one's like way off. So I'm going to loosen up my grip, bring it up, and even it out. So we're going to go back in, remembering green on the outside. Bring the frame to you, put this in vertically. Take your pipe cleaner up and around. Twist. This is in your view. Twist tight and low 3 times. Then lift it out of the way. And then take one outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on this side. And then do the same on the other side. Bring the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, creating a nice circle. Now, between ruffling it in here, I'm off about 1 inch on this side, so I'm going to hold the pipe cleaners and pull this side to even it up. That side, I need to pull up here because it's a little further on the top. I'm going to reach under and pull it out just a touch. Okay, so there you have it. There's that one. I'm going to move it around. Do the next one. And always remember to cut your pieces of fray off as you go so you're not. That's not fray, that's my hair. Whoop. So you're not having to search for them later. See how tight that is? See how curly that is? See how much more springy it is? So I'm going to open it up using the edge of the table, curl side down, fold it in half, put my clip in the center, and in this case it's the pink stripe. Do the same thing on the other end, and with the different technique, I'm going to start gathering with 2 hands, then hold it down here, and bring myself all the way up to the clip, ruffling with 1 hand. I'm faster and I'm more accurate when I do it this way, but you have 2 ideas to work with. Try them both and see which you prefer. When I have a day where I have to make a ton of product in a day, I will mix it up. I do a little of both just to break up the monotony. Don't get me wrong, it's very fun to do this, but the putting the mesh in the wreath is probably the most monotonous, I would say. So I'm making sure the green stripe is to the outside. Place that in there where the pink stripe is, which is the center, so you have 5 inches on each side of the center. 5 inches of the mesh, that is, on each side of the center of the pipe cleaners. I twisted it tight and low 3 times. I'm going to bring up the right outside over the inside cut edge. And do the same on the left side, right inside cut edge under outside cut edge. Making adjustments. I got a little piece of that's got a point on it. So I'm going to, and it's got a point here, so there we go. I think that's good. Yeah. And then last but not least, super curly. See how curly that is? Ugh. It curls itself if you're doing rolls and curls, but we're not doing that today. Super curly. Fold it in half to find your center. Clip your center. Push it up the table. If you don't have a chip clip, you could always put a pet rock or something on there. Grab a rock out of the garden. I've seen other people. When I'm not using my phone to film, I usually set my film up there. You see how it's lifting up a lot because it is such a tight curl? Let's do that. Fold it in half. Find my center. See what it's doing there? It's doing it down here. You've got more to contend with when you get to the tighter curls. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up my hand up here. Ruffle it all into my thumb using my fingers on my left hand. I'm left-handed. You'll probably do it with your right hand. Let's get all the way up here. Pull that clip off. Put it in my thumb and forefinger. See where I'm at. Make sure the edges are even. Yep, nice and even. So I'll put that in there. I do it at a slight angle sometimes. It's a little bit more comfortable for me. tight and low, 1, 2, 3 twists, and then just stick it in the air out of the way for now. Bring that outside cut edge over that inside cut edge. Pipe cleaners always get in the way. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. That one came out as close to perfect as there is, okay? Don't fuss with your ribbon on the bottom layer yet. The less you handle it, the better. And always remember not to handle your ribbon from the cut edge, just like with the mesh, okay? So that's the completed base. Now we're going to work with the sign and the ribbon tails. Let's talk about this. You can do it one of two ways. You can put the sign in first and then overlap the ribbon on top of the sign. Or you can put the ribbon in first and the sign lay on top. Couple of suggestions. In this project, I'm going to put the ribbon in first and then the sign, and I'll tell you why. It's got a unique shape, and you want to be able to see the shape of the rabbit. Same thing with an egg and a star. If you have a square, an oval, or a round, it's not as important to see the shape of the sign because it's just standard. There's no shape to it. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. So in that case, I always put the ribbon on top of the sign if it's a square, round, or oval, because the shape of the sign is not important to see. For this, you want to see the bunny ears and the tail and the feet and all the good stuff. Same thing with the egg. You want to see that it's an egg, because if you put an egg in first and then the ribbon tails on top, it'll just look like a round. So you want them to know what the shape looks like. So we're going to go ahead and put the bunny aside again, because we're going to do it last today. Cover it up, and we're going to bring our ribbon tails in. So I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I had all the bundles made already with the print on top. I'm going to flip it on 3 of them. I'm going to put the geometric on top in 3 of them to give it even more dimension. So let's flip these. You can leave them all exactly the same or mix them up like I'm doing, since we have an even number of twist ties, pipe cleaners. Alright, so that's these 3. And I'm going to start with those. So the same technique we're going to do every other, and we're going to do this, since we're putting the ribbon below underneath the sign, we're going to do the exact same technique as we did on the bottom with ruffling the ribbon, gathering it, whichever you want to call it. And you're going to have to still remember the words are going to go one way on these 3, and the words are going to go the other way on these 3 bundles, okay? So I'm going to ruffle it on the center, just like I did on the bottom. I'm going to pull them down to the edge of the table, just like I did on the bottom. If you were putting the ribbon on top of the sign, just leave it like this and flare out all your ribbon. But we're going to stick with the same technique because we want as much of the ribbon to be seen, since it's going to be behind the sign. I hope that makes sense. So let's do that. Oh, Marguerite jumped the gun. First I need to open up my pipe cleaners on every other one. I'm excited to get this done because I'm really excited about seeing this project complete. I love pastel. I love Easter. I love purple. Purple shirt, purple mat. My cards are purple. My backgrounds are purple. Can you tell I like purple? Okay, let me get that back in place. And I did it wrong. It's this way, guys. See? I get talking. That's all she wrote. Tight and low 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We are not going to do the twisting up of the pipe cleaner or cut it, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift and separate the ribbon. This time I'm not going to do one side one way and one side the other way. It's going to be this print down, this in the middle, and this on top. Okay, so the other side will be exactly the same. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Okay, get these all in place. I run my fingers over. I'm going to give them a little bit of a curl since this is the top layer. If you don't get it the way you want to with your fingers, just grab that pen or pencil and it'll help you give curls. See how it did that? And it will still lie nicely behind a storm or a screen door. So that helps with the curl. Let's start at the bottom this time. Sometimes you can do them all at once like I just did there, okay? So you've got a couple of options with the pipe cleaner. You can twist it like you did on the bottom. Give yourself at least 2 inches of twist and then pull it behind all your ribbons and then cut it right here so it's hidden, and you cut off the rest. And then you end up with just this nice little nub in the center. But that's not what I'm going to do. I prefer the curling method, so I'm messing these all up, I know. Nothing we can't recover from. That's why we love wired ribbon so much. It is flexible and we can handle it. But you notice I'm not handling any of the ribbon from the tips. Okay, so let me undo all these twists I did so that we're back down to just the 3 original twists. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap the pipe cleaner going away from me, twisting it away from me down to the base. And then this one I'm going to wrap around the pipe cleaner around the dowel, pen or pencil, towards me, okay? You can pull it out and give it a little, show little swirls, I call them piggy tails. Or you can just leave them exactly how they were rolled down. So I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to go here. Now the bunnies were going... Okay, so they're upside down on this side. That means they are right side up on this side. Okay. Ruffle. Pull down. I'm going to get another one because I don't want to bend over in front of the camera when I don't have to. There's another one. Okay. Fold it to the edge of the table. Make sure each side is even. Put that in there with the pipe cleaner vertical because the ribbon goes in horizontal. Tie it 3 times. Now I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the other side. Bunnies down. Bunnies and chicks down. Rainbow stripes in the center. And geometric on the top. Okay. You can even use just your hands to give it a little curl. It's probably going to get flattened when I get the sign on. That's okay. You can fix it. I always go back over it at the end. Make sure everything's standing tall. I'm going to curl these now. That way I don't have to go back and do it again. Go back to this bundle, that is. And yes, I'm sure you've noticed I work a little off the table. It's the most comfortable spot for me because I'm not standing. I'm not a big stander. I sit and stand. I'll stand when I put the sign. At least position the sign. So there's 2. I'm going to skip that one. Come over to this one. Remembering that the caricatures are upside down. Okay, so those will be right side up once they're flared out. Bring it to the edge. Place it in there. And each layer you're adding is helping to hold the layer underneath of it flat. 1, 2, 3, flat. Towards the table. So, lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Run my fingers over it and then position this one on top. Turn the wreath a little bit so we're not straightening our back and arms. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Now, it may look like I'm holding the edge, but I'm not. I'm reaching up in the middle. Okay. I have very short thumbs, if you hadn't noticed, so I grab a lot of things with the index finger and middle finger on this hand. They serve exactly the same purpose as you would be just using your thumb and your forefinger. So I curled one away from me, and I'm curling this one towards me. Okay. Now we'll go back and do the other 3, remembering that now that the print with the ducks and the bunnies and the happy Easter and the eggs are on top. So we're going to go the other direction. So on the first 3, they went this way. On these 3, they're going to go this way. And it's on top. We're still going to do the V. We're going to still do that. Tight and low 3 times, twist it. 1, 2, 3. Lift them out of the way for the moment. This time we're going to do the geometric down. The rainbow stripe always in the center, and the print on top. We do that because the geometric is here. It'll be the print. Geometric print at the top. Okay? Again, more dimension. Oop. Twist one away from you. Twist one towards you. Oh, I forgot to do that side. You guys, I jumped ahead. You can do it however you want. I'm only giving you guidelines, what you're comfortable with, as long as the end result is what you want. Okay? So, with that, lay it over that. There's little bits of the mesh peeking through. 2 to go, and then I'll stand up to work on the sign. So we're going to go this way. Ruffle. Pull the tails to the edge of the table. Put it in the pipe cleaner. Twist it tight and low 3 times. Get these out of the way. Remembering that geometric comes out to this edge. Then the rainbow stripe next. And then the print with all the fun little characters. Same thing on this side, remembering to turn it as we go. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. And now we're going to curl the pipe cleaners. One away. One towards me. Okay. And last but not least, this needs to go vertical. Open your bundle. It needs to go that way. That way? Yeah. Even I still second guess. Bring these out. Make sure they're even. Put them in the pipe cleaner. Twist the pipe cleaner tight and low 3 times. Remembering that we do it tight and low so we can keep the wreath under 4 inches. Lift this out of the way for now. Now we're going to position our ribbon. Turn it towards you so it's straight in front of you. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. Get those bubbles out. And then position this, get those bubbles, keep it straight. Then turn it the other way to do the other side of that bundle. Lift, separate, pulling it all the way to the pipe cleaner so you use as much of the ribbon as possible. It helps to alleviate those little pockets as well. Okay. Take those pipe cleaners. Get out of there, thank you. Twist away from me. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Apologies. And now we're going to twist the other one towards me. And that will be the last of the ribbon. Okay, twist it towards me all the way to the base. And there you have your base. I'm going to start putting a few of the tools away. I don't need the chip clip anymore. Try to keep a clean workspace. It's less chaotic that way. We don't need the glue. And we don't need the wire cutters. Maybe the scissors for any last minute haircuts. I'm going to stand for this. My foot fell asleep. I'm going to stand because I want to make sure that I have this bunny positioned correctly. Don't get rid of the bubble wrap it came in yet if you're doing this yourself. I want to make sure one pipe cleaner and bundles at 12 o'clock and one's at 6 o'clock. That tells me where my center is. That way I can place my bunny accordingly. I always like to bring the pipe cleaners up to the front so I know where they are. I want to put this one right where that is. And then these will go on each side of the center. So the center of that cottontail will go over that. And then we have that. Okay, so let me sit back down and not pull a blooper on you. Let me put this away. I don't need it anymore. All these fancy things on the chairs these days, you know. Okay. So this is where you need the needle nose, maybe, and the needle for sure. You can either feed the pipe cleaner all the way through the frame just manually, and I'll do it down there on one, but I use this because it takes less time and you're not fighting with the product as you're putting it through. So I'm going to put the needle through. I'm holding it in the back. I elevated the wreath just a little bit. I'm putting the pipe cleaner through the needle and folding it over so it stays on the needle as I pull it through. And I pulled it through. We're going to play with it more later, but that's going there. Then I'm going to turn it around, and I'll use the needle for one, and then I'm going to position this a little more. I'm going to move this out of the way temporarily because I'm going to put the needle through the frame, and I'm making sure to angle the needle slightly and keep it under the sign so you don't see this pipe cleaner. Yes, the sign moved on me. I'm aware. I'll reposition it once we're ready to tighten it in the back. So I'm going to bring that through, take it off of the needle, and over here we're not going to use the needle. Let me see about putting that back under there. This goes on top. And this one will go under, but I need to move it out of the way for now. So I'm just going to take the end of the pipe cleaner and I'm going to manually feed it through the mesh to the back, making sure I don't try to put it through any of the ribbon. You don't want it to go through the ribbon. It'll destroy it. Just a few extra seconds. I already have it pulled through. Okay, so I'm going to put all of this ribbon back where it belongs now. This over. So there's my pipe cleaners. I'm going to press down on the wreath a little bit because we want the sign to settle into the wreath but not look like it's been sucked in. Wrap that pipe cleaner around the frame until it's all the way wrapped, and then take the sharp point of the pipe cleaner and face it down towards the front of the wreath, not all the way through. I put that bubble wrap under the sign so that if I do drag it like I mistakenly just did, it will not scratch the sign. I'm just going to wrap this around until it's gone. Now I'm going to lift it. Make sure the bubble wrap is where the sign is still, and I'm going to press down a little bit. And wrap this till it's gone. And then before I turn it over again, I'm going to see if there's any strings hanging out from the mesh that I should cut right now, because we want the back to look clean as well. It's not as important, but if somebody has a glass door or an insert on their door and this is going to be seen, you don't want it to look all wild. See any more? So many colors and it blends in. Okay, so I think that was it. I'm going to turn it over. I don't think I need that anymore. And where I can, I'm going to fluff up the ribbon a little bit. Maybe not, because maybe not. I'll just put this over this. Okay. I'm going to bring this one up over this. Need to bring this closer. This I can go ahead and spread out, because the bunny's not in the way. I'm going to do that. Take a look at it once I get it all in place. So this will go on top. I'll have to fix all this. We want to see all the designs we can. And let me look at it. We don't want to cover the ears. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this over top of that. Give it a little bit of a curl there. And then I'm going to put that away. I save those for other projects. Then I'm going to go around the bottom and make sure that all the ribbon's placed correctly. I lift the mesh from the top layer away from the ribbon so I can make sure it's all splayed out to see as much of the ribbon as possible. But lifting the mesh out of the way allows you to keep from snagging your ribbon and your mesh. That one was stuck a little, so it was good that I pulled it up. We're only going to see the tips of the ribbon on the bottom, so it's important to get them out to the outer edge as much as possible. Still lifting the mesh so I don't snag anything. I don't want to do that. I may be duplicating. Better safe than sorry. I may have done this one. I don't know. I don't think so for sure. There's a lot of mesh showing there. Let me come back to the top and reposition again a little bit. It seems very... So I'll go and do it on the opposite side because we want them to match. Don't be afraid of doing that. Okay, so that looks to be done. The edges get crunched when you're working on it. Alright, so I think that's complete. There you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. And there you go.